episode where we tackle the questions that keep you up at night, right? After you've finally gotten the kids off to bed. I'm your host, Curtis.
And I'm RJ, and I'm coming to you from the other side of the parenting journey with two adult kids. And man, I wish I knew back then what we're about to talk about today.
Right on, RJ. That's why you're here, right? The voice of experience. Today, we're diving into the question that literally sets every parent has asked at some point. How do I help my kid find their learning style? And before you think this is going to be some boring educational lecture,
We promise it's not, right? We're keeping it real here, keeping it fun, and hopefully saving you from the mistakes I made at the kitchen table 20 years ago.
facts, RJ. So let me set the scene for you. Picture this. It's Tuesday night, 7 p.m. You've got your kid at the kitchen table.
Oh, here we go.
They've been sitting there for about 3 hours. Oh my God, it's a long time, right? Trying to memorize multiplication tables. You've tried fast flashcards. You've tried drilling them. You've tried bribing them with snacks.
Snacks always seem like they're going to work.
Yeah, most of the time, right? But nothing's sticking. Meanwhile, the same kid can remember every single word to that one song they heard twice on the radio. Crazy, right?
Yes, absolutely. I remember my daughter couldn't even remember her spelling words to save her life, but she knew every lyric to Destiny's Child, right? And now she's 30 and remembers everything she hears. Turns out she was an auditory learner the whole time.
Wow, that's pretty good because her brain definitely learns differently. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Learning styles aren't about your kid being difficult or you being a bad teacher.
Thank you for saying that because I thought it was just me, right? Like I thought I was the problem.
No, it's not you, buddy. It's about figuring out how your child brain is wired to absorb information. Once you crack the code, it's a game changer.
So break it down for us. What are even our learning styles? Because I hear people throw that term around a lot, but what does it actually mean?
All right. So think of it like this, RJ. Learning styles are basically your child's brain's favorite language. Some kids are visual learners. They need to see things, which like I do. Some are auditory, like your daughter. They need to hear it. Then you've got kinesthetic learners who need to move and touch everything.
That's my son, right? He's 20, he's 32 now. And back then, though, he couldn't sit still to save his life. I spent years fighting him on it, but it turns out he just liked
Mhm.
to work with things to figure it out.
Nice. That's good. There it is. And then there's the reading writing learners who are all about the written word. They love taking notes, making lists, and writing everything down. Probably the same people that make those great
Yeah.
note takers, right?
hmm And so I know the term for that is VARK, right? For the learning styles, so people can remember it out there.
Uh-huh.
VARK stands for visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. So these are the different learning styles, right? So you're telling me there was actually a bouncing off the walls during homework time. It's not just he was driving me insane. It was just his.
Yep, that's right,
So, but
RJ.
that's but see, this is what I was convinced he was just trying to drive me insane. Turns out his brain literally needed that movement to process information. Right? I wish I'd known 20 years
Uh-huh.
ago about this technique.
Yeah, no
So
doubt, eh?
that's wild. Okay, so how do we figure out which type our kid is? Some expensive educational psychologist or something? How do we know?
Yeah, you don't have to, but the beauty of it is you can totally figure this out just by paying attention. You're basically becoming a detective.
I like RJ on the case.
Officer RJ, here we go. Exactly. So the first thing, watch your kid during playtime. When do they naturally gravitate towards? What do they like to do, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So when my daughter was growing up, she was always enjoying her toys by color, making everything look perfect, right? But I thought she was
Mhm.
just particular.
Right. But that's the visual learner alert. That's classic visual learner behavior right there. I think maybe we're frozen, perhaps. Not too sure. Give it a minute, guys. See if he comes back here shortly. We'll carry on. Are you frozen there? I don't know. One of
I,
us. I saw you froze on my side. All right, let's go. Yep.
yeah, exactly.
So
So I'm back. So wait, talk about what that was again. So I thought she was just having OCD or something like that, but when you look back, this totally makes sense, right?
absolutely. Visual learners love organizing things, seeing patterns, making things look a certain way. Now, your son who's bouncing around, does he like to take things apart, build stuff, touch everything?
That's how he figures out. Whereas like four remote controls to see how they work, right? I was so
Oh my God.
mad at the time, but looking back, he was actually trying to learn. Now he's into construction and likes working with his hands. So I guess it worked out for the best.
Yep. Yeah, I think I like to do that too myself. See, that hands-on kinetic approach was how he trained his brain to learn. He needed to do things to understand them, and clearly it paid off.
hmm Yeah. So Ken, this is killing me. I want everybody to get it out there. So what about auditory learners? How did you spot those?
Oh man, auditories are usually the ones we who never stop talking. You still there? Okay.
hmm So tell me more.
Sure. So, like, they narrate everything they're doing. I'm putting on my shoes. Now I'm walking to the kitchen. Now I'm getting snack. You know that kid that seems to like, sort of like documentization of what they're doing, like step by step. Oh, some technical issues there with RJ. I guess I had to restart. So anyway, see if he comes back here shortly, guys. Give me a minute. There he is. Let me back in. 1 second. All right, RJ, welcome back. Let's try again.
You talked about auditory learners, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. No,
so,
walking, talking, how they
yeah,
keep on. Like, yeah.
yeah. So look, I see this in my nephew too, right? Verbally, he has to verbally process everything. And I keep telling my
Hmm.
sister-in-law, don't shut him down, right? My daughter was the same way. I used to tell her to be
Right,
quiet, and I regret that now.
right. 'Cause you're trying to like, like sort of suppressing their learning type thing, right? But that's how they learn, right?
Yeah.
So I guess your nephew was just talking through the process, right? So auditory learners remember conversations. They can remember every detail, right? It's
Yep.
crazy. They love discussions. They need to hear things out loud.
Yeah, my daughter used to do that too. She used to make up
Yep.
the weirdest songs about her homework. I thought she was just procrastinating, but I realize now that was actually her learning strategy, right?
It's just memorizing it by singing it, right? That's pretty amazing though. In fact, that's one of the best strategies for auditory learners. They turn everything to a song or a rhyme, so like, or maybe even a rap these days, right?
hmm Yep. I got to admit, I never saw that one at the time, right? So
Right.
what about reading writing learners? What are they like?
Oh, those are your kids who actually enjoy taking notes. Like generally, they enjoy it a lot.
Very detail oriented. Yeah, that exists. You know what I mean? Because we don't see that in our kids very much.
No, you may not even notice right away because they'll keep like a notebook. You won't really look at it, right? But you know what? They are the ones who happily read the entire textbook chapter when everyone else is groaning. They love lists, written instructions, the detailed notes. Writing things down is how they remember stuff. Are you like that? You ever write stuff down so you can remember?
Mm. Oh, I do. I take lots of notes. That's
Okay.
how I like. I don't even know which is my dominant learning style now that I've learned about learning styles. But I take lots of
Yep.
notes. I like to see things. I like to talk. But either so, none of my kids were truly like that though. They both needed to be
Right.
totally different as far as their approach.
Yep. That's the thing, though. Most kids aren't just one type. Neither are we, obviously. They are usually mixed, and here's where it gets really interesting. Current research is showing that the magic really happens when you use multiple learning styles together to get it like stick in there, right?
Wait, so you're not supposed to pick just one and stick with that one. You're supposed to kind of know which one is the dominant, but they usually have a combination.
That's right, RJ. It's called multi-modal learning. You're giving the brain multiple pathways to store the same information.
All right. So for everybody out there, break that down with an example because you're losing me a little bit, and then maybe people out there.
Yeah, perhaps. All right. So let's say you're teaching your kid about the water cycle, right?
Okay, listening.
And yeah, instead of choosing between visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, you can do all three. You would watch a video about that's a visual. You discuss what's happening, that's auditory. Then you create a mini water cycle in a bag taped to a window so they can actually see what's happening. That's kinesthetics.
Mm. Okay, so you're hitting the brain from multiple angles.
Exactly. It's the triple force reinforcement. So even kids with strong preferences of one style may benefit when you engage multiple senses.
Hmm. That's actually, and I think it's the reason why really want you to learn the auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. Because if you learn the multiple learning styles, you can learn how to parent better by understanding your kids a little bit better. So for parents listening right now who's homework tonight, give them some practical tips. What should they try?
All right. So for kinesthetic learners, the kids you can't sit still. Here's what you can do for what you can do. Stop making them sit at a desk. Let them move. Let them do something. Let them walk around and what they're doing, and they try to do it at the same time. Right? Walk and talk.
Wait, what? You're letting them get up while they're doing their homework?
Yep. Seriously. Let them bounce on an exercise ball while reading. Let them pace around the room while he's memorizing stuff. Give him a fidget toy. Not, it's not a distraction, but as a tool to help his brain focus.
Wait, because I confiscated these fidget toys from my son, thinking they were distractions. You're telling me they were actually helping him focus?
Yep, that's right. For kinesthetic learners, the is actually helping their brain process information. You're not fighting against his learning style anymore. You're working with it.
Curtis, look, this is killing me because again, I look, I knew I was damaging my kids, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And not damn was suppressing things. I learned that later in life. And this is killing me because we fought about homework for years, but I was trying to make him learn the way I thought he should learn, right? Now you're
Right.
saying that his brain actually worked this way, and I didn't understand it.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly why you're here, man. To help parents avoid those battles. When you work with a kid's learning style instead of against it, everything gets easier for both, right? Just for the kid and the parent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, right? So what are some strategies for kinesthetic learners?
Sure, you can use manipulatives for math instead of just writing out problems on paper. Use blocks, coins, Lego, or whatever you have around the house. Like you know how you count stuff, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just use like
Mhm,
items. They can count the items with their
mhm.
hands, right?
Yeah, I wish I'd done this with my son, right? I used to drill my son with flashcards over and over. No wonder he hated the math
Yep.
homework.
Yeah, exactly. For kinesthetic learners, if they can build it, touch it, see it physically, that's going to stick way better than just staring at numbers on a page, which probably made them fall asleep, right? So, what about you, RJ? What worked with your daughter because she was a visual
Mhm.
learner, right?
Well, well, yeah, like we said, she was a visual learner. I'll be honest. I thought the color coding and seven different colors, right? But once I stopped fighting and let her organize her notes however she wanted, things started to click.
That's a perfect example there, RJ. And for parents listening whose kids are visual learners, let them use color, pictures, charts, diagrams, or anything that turns abstract concepts into something visual. You good there?
Yep. So what about color coding like that?
Yep. So they can use
So,
like
all right. So once I stop seeing
anything
this,
like
so go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah. No, just saying the color coding thing, and then they can use every single color of the rainbow that their brain's organizing information in a way that makes sense to them. Did you and you saw this firsthand, right, RJ, with your daughter?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Look, once I stopped seeing this as a waste of time, started seeing it as her learning tool, everything changed, right? And I'm glad I figured out some things with my daughter. You know what I mean? My son
Right.
being a little older, I lost the battle there. With my daughter, her
Right.
grades went up, homework battles went down, win-win.
Awesome. It's definitely helping. So also flashcards with pictures, mind maps, which is kind of cool. You've done those, are a pretty cool thing to look at.
Yep.
Educational
Yep.
videos, all of that is gold for visual learners. And that's that and let that draw out concepts. Like they can draw them out, they can figure it out. If you're explaining fractions, let them draw pie charts. So make them actually draw out the different parts of the pie and help them
Yeah.
visually understand it, right? For fractions.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything they can see, right? So, what about auditory learners? Because I'll be honest, my daughter started constantly doing, you know, that used to be driving me crazy. I was always telling her to be quiet and do your homework.
Hmm. Maybe Jim. Okay, so that was actually shutting her learning process. For auditory learners, that's talking is the learning. Parents need to embrace it. Let them explain concepts back to you. Teaching is one of the best ways to learn. So they're teaching you how to do what they just learned, right?
Hmm. And so I've heard this as the Feynman technique, right? My daughter would
Yep,
literally teach me what she learned, and I thought she was just showing off. She was actually cementing the information in her.
exactly there, RJ. Also, read out loud together. Let them use educational podcasts and audiobooks. And yes, embrace those ridiculous study songs.
I'm stuck again. Are
Oh, okay.
you there with me, Curtis?
Want me to carry on then? Yeah, I can still hear you, RJ. No problem.
No, okay. Okay. So, um,
Still hear you.
so look, yeah, I remember those days. I used to think they were so easily remembered, math, reading. I can't argue with the results.
Yep, the multiplication rap videos, it's working. It's working. Don't knock it.
Mhm. Fair point. So, mistakes, right? What are parents doing wrong when it comes to learning styles?
Oh man, the biggest mistake, treating learning styles like rigid boxes, like they're trying to fit in one little thing, but it's actually more than that.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually did this. So eventually we figured out that my son was kinesthetic, right? He liked to work with things, manipulate
Hmm.
things.
Yep,
But then I thought everything was, involved movement, but some things he still learned watching or listening.
exactly. You learn this the hard way, RJ. It's not about limiting them to one style. It's about understanding their strengths so that when things get tough, you know which to use and which they lean towards, right? But you still want to offer variety.
Hmm. Yeah, and there's why, look, VARK, keep this in mind, folks. VARK, visual, auditory, reading and writing, kinesthetic. And then your kids will actually have a combination of each of them, right? Which is their dominance, of course. But what else do they like? Do they like, hear things? Do they like to see things? Again, so that's, working with their styles, right?
Yep, that's right. So
So what
fighting their
else? What
natural
else? What else do
style.
they need to know, parents out there?
Okay, sure. Fighting their natural style. If you've got a kinesthetic learner and you're demanding them to sit perfectly still at the desk for 2 hours, which will happen, what's going to happen?
Yep, that's what I definitely did. Sit there until you finish your homework. We're not doing anything else until you finish your homework.
Yep. It's like they got ants in their pants, right? So you're basically
Yeah.
asking their brain to work against itself, right? It's like trying to run a marathon in flip flop. Oh, that's horrible. It's a bad idea. It'll hurt your toes. Technically possible, but why make it so hard?
Yeah. Look, I feel like I personally am being attacked by my past right now. Because seriously, parents need to hear this. I wasted so much time and created so much unnecessary stress because I didn't understand this stuff.
Yeah, it's all good, RJ. We're all learning. Another big mistake, assuming school will adapt.
hmm And I used to blame the teachers, right? I think, why aren't they teaching my son in a way he understands? But you're right. They're doing their best with 25 plus kids in their classroom. Home we can really make the difference.
Exactly, RJ. You don't have to be a teacher. You just have to be strategic about how you help your kids study at home.
hmm Okay, last question before we wrap up. What if a
Yep.
kid is going across the board, like nothing working?
That's a really important question, RJ. Learning styles are about preferences. Learning disabilities are about processing differences that need professional support.
That's a really important distinction. I struggled with this, right? I kept thinking if I just found the learning style approach, all my son's issues would disappear, but some more than just adapting study methods.
Yep. And that's important for parents to understand. Learning styles help, but they're not a cure all. If your child is struggling significantly despite trying multiple approaches, or they are way behind developmental milestones, bring professionals. There's no shame in that.
Absolutely. You know what? Tutoring help. We ended up getting son evaluated. It turned out he had ADHD on top of being a kinesthetic learner. Now, we decided not to medicate at the time, right?
Yep.
We just decided to work
Good.
with his learning styles because learning styles are cool, but they're not the whole picture.
That's a good thing you didn't go that other route with the drug thing because it really damages kids by what we've seen, right, in the future of what happened to those kids. But there's no shame in seeking
Yeah, yeah,
professional
yeah,
help
yeah. It was
anyway, right?
it was a personal choice, but I think it was the right one.
It's good. I think so too. But we all want our kids to thrive, and sometimes that means bringing in experts. Thanks for sharing, RJ. I know that's personal, but it's important for parents to hear as well.
I'm I'm
No,
lost
I can
again.
still hear you. I can still hear you. Or I did for a second. Yeah, I can hear you. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So here's the thing. I think there's no shame in seeking professional help. Look, I eventually did it for myself, right?
Mhm.
But for our kids, we don't know what they're struggling with. We want our kids to strive to thrive, and sometimes that means bringing in experts, right?
That's right. So your kid's learning style isn't a flaw to fix, it's strength to leverage. Stop fighting against how their brain works and start working with them.
Mhm. I love this one. And honestly, looking back, my kids were showing me how they learned best the whole time. I just wasn't paying enough attention. I was too busy trying to force them into this mold that I thought they should fit.
Right. And that's the truth right there, RJ. Your kids are already showing you you don't need expensive tests or psychological degree. Just watch them play, notice how they remember things, pay attention to their study habits. They're communicating how they learn best. We just need to listen first.
Yeah, and look, parents, don't be afraid to experiment, right? I wish I'd tried different approaches earlier instead of sticking with what wasn't
Mhm.
working. Try different things, see what sticks, pivot when you need to. There's no perfect formula.
That's right. So just keep it fun, guys. If you and your kid are laughing when making up ridiculous songs or acting math problems, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. And parents listening, look, if you try some of these strategies tonight and your kid actually gets excited, That's the moment. That's when they know when you found their learning style, right? This is a tool in your
Hmm.
toolbox.
Yep, that's exactly it, RJ. And that's what we're here for, helping parents have those breakthroughs before they spend years fighting unnecessary battles, RJ. Where you've been there, you've learned these lessons the hard way, and now you're passing your wisdom on to our audience.
Absolutely. And please, parents, look, hit us up on social media, right? We're here for you. Leave comments. Let us know what's working for your family. Let us know where you're having struggles or difficulties. We're happy to talk about this. I would have killed for a community like this when kids were young. So let's help each other out.
Absolutely. And before I go, let me leave you with this. One of those nights when homework still devolves into chaos despite your best efforts, that's normal. Every parent has been there, including RJ and myself.
Mm, yep, absolutely. More times than I can count, right? But here's the thing. Now that my kids are adults, I can look back at what worked and what didn't. And I'm telling you, understanding their learning styles earlier would have saved my family a lot of stress.
Right on, RJ. But for parents listening right now, you've got these tools now. You don't have to wait 20 years and look back and wish you've done something differently. You can start tonight.
Support circle. That's going to do it for today's episode. But thanks for hanging out with us and letting me some hard won wisdom.
All right. Thanks, RJ, for all your experience and your insights for today. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and ring the bell so next time we go live, you can be notified. And if you're on Facebook, leave a comment on our show today or some issues that you've had and you found solutions to. We'd love to hear that. Soon share them with other parents. So we'll catch you next time. Until then, keep supporting each other, keep asking questions, and remember,
Yep.
you've got
And
this. See you guys. Thank you.